Hey, tell Joe Mixon he needs to sit for a few more weeks. I need Gio to play.
Yeah, no, he needs to come back.
My running backs don't have hamstrings.
That's a bummer.
How are your running backs?
One of them's fat.
Wait, who's fat?
Rashad Penny is fat.
Are they saying he's fat, or are you just saying that?
No, he's fat.
Okay.
I saw it, and people are saying it. So
Hey,
yeah.
Todd Gurley
Both
has a
of those.
knee.
Does he? That's not ideal.
Remember when Tim traded Todd Gurley because he had a knee?
Tim traded Todd Gurley because he was confirmed to be the next Trent Richardson.
That's right.
Confirmed.
Who's ready to blow this? Who's ready to blow the top off this thing right now?
I gotta get psyched up. It's that mid-afternoon kind of lull
It's too
right
early. It's weird.
I'm drinking a Red Bull, so
now.
Should I crack a Mountain Dew?
Good.
Brock's got coffee. I got Red Bull. You should crack a
Yeah,
Mountain
I
Dew.
need some caffeine. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Oh. Ooh, doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. I was gonna text you and see if you wanted to go to B-Dubs in Green Bay for the game, and then I was like, I have no control, and I will have like too many beers.
Yeah, same.
Especially over a 3-hour time span.
Yeah, that does sound amazing though. But
I should probably turn this light on. Oh, Christ.
What could
What
it
the hell?
possibly just I'm gonna guess bug.
Yeah, because I turned the light on and these bugs love
Oh.
light, and it just flew right up to my. Now they're gonna have free
Jesus
reign to go wherever.
it's possible that this wasn't. It didn't explode. It was just devoured.
It might have been.
That's how many there are. I'm thoroughly disgusted right now. Like I kind of want to die just looking at it.
It's just sitting there in plain view.
It's been like a part of my life for like a week. I just like sit here and look over, and they're like zipping around, and I'm like, what the hell? And then I don't do anything about it. All right, let's fucking do this. There's a lot this week. It might be a lot.
I just got really winded running upstairs.
You run marathons. I don't. What?
I don't know what just happened.
All right.
All right.
Hey, okay. The longer I sit here, the more I'm like, do you actually want to go to B-Dubs though?
Maybe. We'll see what time we get done.
Okay. Because like it kind of sounds amazing.
Kind of does.
Amazing enough to limit myself to 2 beers. Maybe 3. Okay.
That's the problem.
Dude, you know that it's fine. It's fine, you know? Like it's I don't need alcohol to watch sports. I don't need alcohol to
Right.
be okay.
I don't know.
I'm gonna get a lemonade.
Went from, I don't
2
need
beers and
alcohol.
get a lemonade.
Mm-mm. Especially if you get the tall ones. I'd be feeling really good right about then.
Yeah. Fuck me. All right, let's fucking do this. Ooh.
Tell me when.
Okay, I'm doing it in 3 seconds. Welcome, everybody. Caleb.
Oh my
Come on.
god.
That was
Choke job.
at least at the 2
Oh.
second point. I had time.
Almost as bad as the Yankees tonight.
Oh yeah, by the time this is released, well, I don't know. It depends when we release it.
Oh, it'll probably be over.
Yeah.
Oh, I do
Don't
want to
picture
try to
him.
get it out tonight, but we'll see. Okay.
Oh, this coffee.
Coffee.
And welcome.
Get on.
Week
Oh,
4, the web.com podcast.
Should I go back to the first podcast? Hello, web owners.
Like
it's some sort of State of the Union address. Hello, web owners. Listen up.
very stern, very stern.
We have games. There's scores.
If we just showed no emotion the entire show.
Okay.
All right. Sorry.
What is
Let's go.
what's
Let's
happening?
go.
It's the caffeine.
It is.
It's hitting my veins. Welcome, everybody, to the week 4 2018 web.com podcast. This is the most excited I've been for a podcast in a while. I'll just say it.
Really?
I'm saying it right now. Yeah. We had a lot going on this week, like some historical context happening. We had some huge games to close out our week 4 or our block of non-conference, and we get to look ahead to the start of conference games, which is always exciting. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. How about you guys?
I'm excited. We're back to 2-2.
That is nice.
Riding high this week.
Caleb, are you excited?
Man.
Big meh.
It's
You
So-
excited?
exciting week.
You said you were
Exciting.
excited. Hey, did you see that you had a 200-point game?
Yep. I looked.
2 in a row.
You're damn straight.
Step
Oh,
changes.
really?
Yep.
Yeah. That was a late
You
one.
bet your ass.
Wow. So how many times has that happened before, or what is that?
We'll get to it, Caleb.
Okay,
Just
okay. Don't want to get
Settle
ahead.
down.
Got excited.
Good question, but just wait.
So, okay, before we get into the games themselves, I just want to make note that this was the second highest scoring week in web.com history. So, the question of is scoring back, which has seemed to be a yes so far, is in fact a resounding yes so far this season.
Mingo, what is the first highest scoring game of all time?
Well, Frazier, the highest scoring week of all time was week 13 of 2014, which was the first of 2 weeks where you and Dan posted 200-plus point games back to back.
Jeez.
Frazier
pretty
led the
killer.
way
That was
with
before I was alive.
46 that week.
Before Caleb was alive.
This is the highest scoring week I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that was the week Brock broke the scoring record, and then Dan beat him the next week.
Wow.
And he claimed the scoring record to end the season.
That is crazy.
I got the Melvin Gordon treatment.
The grand finale of Dan's 7-game winning streak to make the playoffs.
After
Wow.
being
I-
1-6.
Yeah.
Picture that, Caleb. Now, like imagine that Dan being starting out 1-6.
And then coming back, making the playoffs. It's
Yeah.
unfathomable. It's unfathomable.
Take another swig of that Mountain Dew.
I was when I was looking back at that and I saw that like stretch that Dan had, the 7 games averaging like 198 points per game. I was like, how did this happen? It's at the time it was like unbelievable. Like we all knew it was unbelievable, but even looking back, it's like even more impressive. It's just like, what happened?
I feel like the reason like that gets downplayed and we don't think about it that much is because Dan caps off that incredible run. I finished off undefeated season. 2 the most ridiculous things to happen in a web of all time, and we both just get knocked off in the first round.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Yeah, that 2014. I talk about it. I've talked about it this season already like 3 times. It's so crazy. There's so much happening. But 2018, a lot happening as well. We are on pace for some kind of season in terms of scoring. Record scoring starts so far. We are averaging as a league 160.7 points per game. So I mean, this is crazy, and it's producing some interesting results. Some teams are sitting in places they didn't really expect to be sitting. So let's jump into it. Week 4, game of the week. Frazier and Dan. I wanted to go back and look to see how many times you guys have played each other and how many times that it's one game of the week, because it's got to be every single one of them.
It's because it's usually, for the most part, it's one time a year, and it's usually pretty big.
Yeah, it's a spectacle for sure. And quite a little playoff rivalry. Maybe the only playoff rivalry that we have in web so far, I would say. Like, you guys have played each other more than anybody else has.
Yeah.
Is there an all-time head-to-head record again for these guys, or do we have
a regular season?
Yeah, sure, or both. I don't care.
So going into this game, Dan was up 4-2 in the regular season series.
Okay.
And Frazier is leading the playoff series 2-1.
All right.
So
it matters.
Yes. But this week, Frazier picked up that 3rd win all time against Dan. Back on track for Frazier.
Back in that tie for first in the Pac-5.
Yep.
After a rocky start, here I am.
Yeah, I went back and did the offensive scores from last week, and your offense last week was at 66.
I honestly don't think it was much better this week either.
It doesn't look like it, really.
That's probably saying something about just how awful it was last week, because this week you were 95.6.
Okay.
What? Wow.
Yeah, last week was bad.
Oh God.
So many people.
Surprisingly, you did have a lower offensive score last season in week 5, 64.3. But either way, it was not great the last 2 weeks, and you had the big showdown here, the capstone of the interconference block with Dan, and it was a tight one. It came right down to it on Monday night. Pat Mahomes almost brought him all the way back.
Yeah, he got off to a slow start too. I'm sitting there. I wasn't watching the game for the most part until the end, kind of. But each quarter and half, I would check the scores, and I'd be like, "Wow, I'm still up." And Dan's projection has moved below my score here. What are we doing? And then going into fourth quarter, it actually looks like I'm like in the driver's seat big time. Like Dan's projected score is like 10 below my current score. And then Mahomes throws for like, I don't even know what it was in the fourth quarter, like 250 yards or something, gets his touchdown, and all of a sudden we're sitting there, Chiefs driving, and I'm like, everyone else is witnessing like this like coming out party, well, almost still coming out party, Patrick Mahomes, and I wanted so bad to just enjoy it, but I couldn't. Like, these left-handed throws, and I think it came down to if Mahomes would have thrown a touchdown to like anyone but Tyreek Hill, I would have won on that last drive by like 0.2 or something points, 0.3.
Jeez.
If he would have thrown it to Tyreek touchdown, I would have lost. Mahomes rushing touchdown, I would have lost. Luckily, we got a Kareem Hunt touchdown. Locked it up. Oh, it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah. So the weird thing about your team is the offense, which was your kind of like that was like your brand last season. Like you were the offensive juggernaut, 104 points per game, leading the league. This season, you are currently sitting at last in offensive scoring.
Wow.
That's real? Oh, no.
85 points per game. And this is like 5 points per game under the next team.
Yikes.
So it's pretty significant. But your defense is currently the number 1 scoring defense in Web.
Wow.
So you've been getting production out of that spot.
Haven't had a team like this in a while.
This is interesting. Like, I was just looking at the defenses, like 13 Martinez, 13 Randall, 17 from Fitzpatrick. Holy crap. Did not see that coming.
Yeah.
We saw its hair.
We took a hard look at what we were doing and throughout the past years, and we knew we had a good offense. Defense is struggling, so we've really taken the time to address that, and we may have missed the offense because now we've gone the other way.
Hey, the mark of a great team, adjusting on the fly, learning how to win in new ways. So a new look Frazier squad this year, but still, like you said, 2-2 now, back on the right track, tied atop the Pac-5, heading into conference matchups. And
one last thing about my team is the kicker curse officially is going in reverse.
Dan Bailey, 12 points.
Yep, he did the
double
things. The kicker curse, just like you got rid of the kicker curse, and now the curse is on Parker's tight ends, just shattering legs.
Just was doomed to have that happen, but
whatever, that voodoo in that curse is so powerful.
It just flies around Webb and messes with everything.
Fucking disintegrated Eifert's leg.
You would have had a real good week if you would have started George Kittle.
Yeah. Continuing the trend of I can't pick the right player.
Tight end 3.
Carson sits. Maybe we got a Penny breakout. Nope. Gets benched for Mike Davis.
Yeah, it's weird times with Rashad Penny.
Seattle is just a freaking disaster right now.
It is a mess.
Yeah. So you're 2-2. Dan now, despite a 169.2, which earned him a 5 WIB this week, which is actually kind of crazy that was a 5 WIB. After the back-to-back week highs, like 230 point performance in week 1, like this is the greatest team we've ever seen. Suddenly at 2-2, not because necessarily he's been performing less like impressively over the last 2 weeks, but just hasn't been able to catch the right teams. So what do you think here? He just made a trade, offloaded a staple, Demaryius Thomas,
for a stale bagel, which equates
for
to a second.
A juicy stale bagel.
One of those players that you just forget about.
Yeah.
Especially considering how good he was at one point.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I don't know how much of it is quarterback and how much of it is player, but he's been...
Well, Case Keenum missed him wide open to win the game
Monday
night.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
That was especially brutal because if they would have scored that, Mahomes would have had more time to go do Mahomes thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So maybe the Chad Kelly era ignites Demaryius Thomas again?
Wow, would that be... If the Chad Kelly era begins in Denver, that'd be a wild, wild time.
You did.
I'm here for it, though.
So, Brock and Dan, both 2-2, which is the same place you guys were sitting at last season, just in kind of reverse order. Like, So
Interesting. Can't get off to good starts, us two.
yeah, and like Dan, speaking of offenses, it's like Dan's offense is on a ridiculous pace right now. I just want to say that, like, 122 points per game from Dan's offense. Like, he's even in bad weeks, he's still like at 100 points. So crazy stuff. But all right,
might get Le'Veon back.
True.
Week 7
Yeah.
or whatever.
Oh God.
Hey.
Please don't let me be playing him in week 7. All right. Let's move on to the game that was second, the kicker duel, the Monday night kicker duel between Tim and Parker. Both went into Monday with just their kickers to go and separated by like 2 points. So, and in the end, it was.
We may never see that again.
We may never see
That's
that again.
insane. To like win the game and then have them both in the same Monday, like that's the odds of that are just unreal.
Both in the same Monday game. Both the only players left on your team. It's just
And it's like a tie game.
Yeah. It was insane. And I mean, looking at it, like it's like the Chiefs against the Broncos. Like you're thinking Tim has a clear advantage here. Like the Broncos are not going to do anything. And all of a sudden, it was kind of a tight game, or was a tight game, and McManus coming through to win the game for Parker.
Yeah, neither of them missed kicks. It just came down to more opportunity for McManus. So it wasn't really the heartbreak of someone missing one and just like screwing them. It was just that would have been tough.
Yeah, Mahomes is just punching it in too much.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah, they were. I mean, the Chiefs are driving on that last possession, and I'm thinking like, if they go for the field goal, like if they have to go for a field goal, it's going to be a Tim victory, and then it might go into overtime, and then it wouldn't have been a victory, but it would have been a whole new can of worms. But
big issue for Tim was he started Ryan Fitzpatrick this week.
He is
who
drinking a little bit of that Fitz magic.
Literally ended the week.
Leave it to Tim to ruin it.
3 points from Fitzpatrick, and even on the bench, all he had was Russell Wilson, who had 8.1. And
would have won.
Yeah, that would have been enough.
Definitely quarterback problems for the insolent Pence. There's potentially an inside source that can tell web reporters Frazier and Caleb that he's inquiring about quarterbacks around the league.
Oh yeah,
and
I guess got Russell Wilson, who is being just completely dragged down by his offense.
Yeah, I don't know. There were some takes again that Russell Wilson isn't that good, and I am very much against those takes. I don't know. Wasn't there a debate between Mingo and?
It was the screaming match.
That was more than a debate.
That was a full blown screaming match. Ended in a slam
room.
Wow. So yeah,
over something.
Not even relevant. It's just like a completely irrelevant topic.
It was in like 2015, and it was if you're starting a franchise today, is Russell Wilson in your top 5 quarterbacks that you would take? I think that's what the context.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
And who's?
I think I was saying. I thought you guys were saying top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Oh,
and you were saying top 5 like starting a team, and there was like some miscommunication. And then Dan thought I was talking about like Nick Foles or something. He like said that, and I was like, what?
Got out of hand.
It was weird. But yeah, so we'll get to Parker. He's the victor. He's off to another great start here in Webb, something he's very used to. But the big story here is Tim, because Tim is currently 1-3. He is the highest scoring team to start a season with a losing record after 4 games.
Wow.
So he's performing at a 9-win level according to the metrics, and he just cannot find it. He's not able to get the 163 loss, 170 loss. So he's got a 6 WIB, and he's 1-3. So
that's just tough luck. That's my goodness.
We gotta think that it's gonna turn around for him. Maybe getting into the Pac-5 and getting his team kind of ironed out. But even so, he's already kind of digging a little bit of a hole here. What do we think?
Yeah, definitely a hole. Historically, you've been able to go into that Pac-5 schedule and have a little bit of a weaker schedule, but I don't know if that's going to be as much of a case this year with the way Josh and Dave have showed that they can score points kind of with the best of them on a week-to-week basis this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's he doesn't have that cushion that you put. Yeah, like you said, going into the schedule with everyone, like the scoring is like leveled out a little bit, so like anyone can beat anyone on a given week. So that's tough for Tim when you start 1-3 with that. And then he's got a big game against me, who I'm also 1-3 next week. So that's going to be very telling for both of our seasons.
We're gonna have a 1-4 team here.
Yeah. So
the other thing with Tim with this quarterback issue is usually quarterbacks not that much of an issue as long as you have like a solid one. But if Russell Wilson is just getting destroyed by this offense, and you're not putting up 10 points, at least 10 points in your quarterback spot, that kills you.
That absolutely. You need 20 points a week from your quarterback, otherwise you're just getting held back right away.
Even just like 15 to 20, just something consistent and solid. Like, it's not the kind of position that you really want to be fluctuating. Like, you're starting Ryan Fitzpatrick, and all of a sudden you're starting whoever, Russell Wilson, or picking somebody up.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's relatively easy to have a decent one, but if you find yourself in that spot where you don't have it, it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
So the last team to start 1-3 and finish the season with a winning record was 2015 Tim.
Huh.
That's the year he traded for Odell and went on the 7-game winning streak to end the season. Finished 9-5, didn't make the playoffs. But so he's done this before. He's come back. He's had a 9-win season out of it. And definitely, like, he has the team that can do that again. But like you were saying, the Dave and Josh games, if 4 weeks is any indication, they're gonna be pesky in the conference games this year. They are scoring just as much as anybody else, and it's gonna be tough. I think that the entire landscape of the Pac-5 could be like significantly changed this season, just based on those two teams really kind of being in it each week.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Parker, 3-1 for Parker. So kind of the opposite here. He had the 8-6 season last year, disappointing, missed the playoffs. 2-time defending champion, but he's back. I mean, he's proving that he's back. He's scoring 160 points per game, season high 172.1 this week. He's got some spots in the lineup that are kind of in flux, but he's finding ways around that. Mm-hmm. Is Parker back? Is the former Webb champion and powerhouse of the Big Five? Is he here to stay?
Yeah, I think he's going to contend this year for the division. Definitely going to have to get a little bit more out of definitely the tight end spot. He might have to address that via trade.
He's got not much left.
Yeah, with Ben Watson. He needs Derrick Henry to get going. But yeah, other than that, this team, like we talked about earlier this year, the wide receivers are going to carry him. David Johnson should be better with Rosen. You're opening up things for him a little bit more. So yeah, I think this is a big week coming up for him with the matchup with Mingo.
Yeah.
If he can put up a statement W, that could put him in the driver's seat, I think.
Yeah, he's going to need – because, those receivers will carry him, and it helps a lot because with the slow start of Henry, we got to hope he picks it up. No tight end. And then even the flex, he started Alfred Morris, which you don't want. So those are like 3 spots in the starting lineup that are like you probably aren't – you don't know what you're going to get, but it's not been great production. But the rest of the team has been able to carry it so far. Even on the bench, just have to shout out Nick Chubb, who had 3 rushes for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. So that's promising.
Yeah,
get him more carries.
Yeah, and we know what David Johnson is capable of if he even has just an average offense.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think those guys on this team are good. Other guys aren't performing as well, so that's good enough for him to contend for the division.
Yeah, and I think the other part of this team is that he's been the number 1 defensive team 2 years running. So that's a big part of his the way that he wins games. Like last season, averaging only 88 points offensively, but with the number 1 scoring defense, still finds a way to get to 8 and 6. And he's off to a good start again. I mean, he's right in the mix. He's sitting at 4th right now, but the separation is very close between the 2, 3, 4 teams. So those offensive holes maybe getting covered up by this really just rock solid defense that he's built over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
All right. So big game though. I'm excited for that this week, but we'll get to that. Okay. So me and Caleb, a few things going on with this game. So we'll start with Caleb because I want to point out some positives of your week here. Okay. So Caleb lost with a week low of 141.6. And if you're sitting there thinking that seems pretty high for a week low, you would be correct because that is the highest week low of all time. So even in a week in which Caleb was, posting a back-to-back week low total, you still found a way to score some points, Caleb. So it's okay. Everybody else just scored more.
Yeah, that's classic. I don't know. It was another whatever week for me. The tight end situation still is bad.
Who's got a worse tight end situation, Caleb or Parker? It'd be Parker.
It's Parker.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you got Ingram. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah,
he'll be there. Definitely Parker. Ooh.
Yeah. So there's that. Amari is just an absolute roller coaster. 1 point week 1, 11, 1 point week 3, 18. So if I know anything, I should probably bench him this week, but I also don't have any receivers, which means I'm starting Taywan Taylor this week. It's not great, but Carry-On is looking really good. I think us Carry-On truthers out there for Scouts Elite, I think it's paying off. And he's
He's the man.
Yeah, he just needs to get more carries, but he's looking really good. Royce Freeman, he'll score a touchdown each week, it seems like. So he's startable. Michael Thomas had a down game, whatever. Allen Robinson caught a touchdown. It was whatever. It was an okay week, not a great one. Got the loss, but obviously some promising things. Getting Joe Mixon back will be big. Marcus Mariota looked really good. He led an incredible comeback against the Eagles. And I think moving forward, I'm a little more excited. But
maybe you got a quarterback here to trade Tim.
Yeah, might actually. We'll see. We'll hold my breath. Hopefully Mariota stays healthy, but it's not awful, I guess. I'm really just hoping the team can do something this week against Tim to keep me in contention.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game this week because after the promising start that you had with the two games, and even despite losing that week 2 with your highest point total of the season, it's been a completely different story these last two games, and it's kind of dropped you down to the bottom of Webb right now. So a big statement, getting some guys back, Joe Mixon coming back, and maybe seeing Carry-On and guys like that getting a little bit more involved as the season goes on. For sure could see this team bouncing back, but the defense is still, I mean, it's the worst in the league right now, and it's well documented that it was almost the worst defense ever last year. So what, you got any plans to fix the defense, or?
I really don't know. Like, I'm looking at it, and I have like the number 1 scoring like defensive tackles, number three scoring corner, number 2 scoring safety. It's just like the linebackers have been hurt. Like both Mosley and Kirksey were bias, so I think I'm missing a ton of production there. So I'm thinking once they get into the swing of things will be looking better for the defense, and hopefully my defensive line curse isn't back again after week 1 was a week, whatever, one of the weeks it was back, but now it's not. So I think getting the linebackers back in the swing of things, hopefully we can figure that out.
The other good part about that, though, is that Tim is the second lowest scoring defense so far, so you won't have to worry about your conference rival besting you in that department.
All right,
it seems like. So be all about the offense this week. So my team, after a week low, very weird week, nothing kind of going right, has arrived back to its Big Five championship form. Last week, stat corrected, 200-point game.
Ooh.
Let's go.
Wow.
That was
back.
my team's third all-time 200-pointer. And then this week, another one, just like that, number 4.
Hey, congrats.
Thank you. The question before from Caleb was, when is the last time a team posted back-to-back 200-point games? And the answer is 2015, Dan, week 12 and week 13.
Huh.
So it's been a while. Speaking of 200-point games, though, as with the scoring being back, the 200-point game is back. We have had 4 already, and that matches the season total from last year already.
Wow.
So,
scoring is back, and it's fun.
Or sorry, 3, and it was 3 last year. So we're already at the total. So it's back. It's fun. We're flying. Points are flying. My team is getting production out of crazy spots, like 20-point games by Giovanni Bernard, like it's 2015.
I mean, has that ever happened?
I don't know. Probably not.
This is Gio's prime right here.
You know, he's back home. He's back where he belongs, and he's really taken that to heart.
God, he was sitting in waivers.
But yeah, my offense last 3 weeks averaging 118.9 points per game, currently third scoring in Webb. Defense is currently the number 2 scoring in Webb, had a back-to-back 80-plus point weeks the last 2 weeks out of the defense. J.J. Watt is back to being a force of nature.
Wow, yeah.
It's great.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, 3-1. Parker also 3-1. Dan 2-2. But obviously, he's the number 1 scoring team in the league. Big Five is going to be this year. I think it's going to be freaking nuts with these 3 teams once again fighting down the stretch. But what do you guys think, makers?
You ever gonna not score 200 points again?
No,
didn't think so.
Absolutely not. Sean Watson, 40 points a week.
This is with 2 of your running backs just fighting injuries too. 2 of your mainstays.
Yeah, Fournette has
obviously
not been helping you out.
yeah. Addressed the Gio. Gio's came up big. It was a well-timed Mixon injury for you.
Yeah.
Kelsey almost had 2 touchdowns. Didn't get popped. So yeah, that's probably the best tight end. Receivers are even at a down week this week, still put up 200 points.
I think that's one of the things. Like last year, the receiving core was kind of a question mark, and now with Juju being for certain a premier target in the NFL, and Will Fuller still catching touchdowns from Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson, Will Fuller thing is crazy.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And now Corey Davis. I'm starting Corey Davis at flex this week.
Oh, baby.
Is that his debut for your team?
That's his debut for the Moneymakers. That's real.
Love it.
I'm so ready. All right. Next up, we had the undefeated Carter 3-0 matching up with Dave, who's having a quietly impressive season. The Dirty Dave and the boys. And in fact, scored the upset this week, knocked off the last remaining undefeated team in Webb, and now we are back to nobody's pulling a Brock.
Well, I thought Carter was going to do it too. I really did.
Felt good about it. Felt good.
Dave's got an offense here. He does.
He does. It's low key, very impressive. He kind of teased them a little bit for some of the things that he had going on in the preseason, and he took that to heart. I think he delivered an impassioned speech to the boys, and they have arrived here. Last 2 weeks, 106.6 points per game out of the offense. John Brown, John Brown has been great. Adam Thielen is a freaking elite, absolutely elite.
4 straight 100-yard games to start the season. That's insane.
Yeah. He's a legitimate top 5 receiver in the league right now. Like, it's the only reason that you wouldn't say that is because he's white. That's literally the only reason. And because he's 28.
All right.
Yeah, this team, like every one of those random players that we were ripping on, Dave's getting production out of them. It's crazy.
Yeah. Also, Sony Michel having a big game. Is that right?
Looks like they're giving him a lot of carries now. So
25 carries. This is without his top running back too. His cornerstone, McCaffrey.
Yeah. The early buy for McCaffrey, and still able to put up 164 points this week. I don't know. I honestly believe that this team is not. This isn't really a fluke. What's happening? I mean, it's not like he's been scoring a ton. Like, he's averaging 152.4. It's kind of like right in that middle of the pack tier. But like, he's been so consistent. It's just like every single week he's pumping out at least 145 points. And I don't think it's going to go away. I think this team is going to kind of stick around and be pesky and maybe even be in for like another 6-8 type of a season.
Dude, and if he would have just handed the reins to his hotshot young QB, it would almost have 200 points.
Yeah, Goff. Oh my god.
He would have had 200 points, wouldn't he have?
I don't think it would have been like 195. Okay. Goff had 38. Breeze had 8, so it would have been plus 30.
30. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Goff looked like he'll be the heir apparent to Drew Brees, maybe even take over pretty soon here.
Yeah, it looks like he's in his lineup right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, going to have to certainly look at it. Goff is Caleb and I were talking about this. Like, Goff is legit. Like, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
There's people saying his Thursday night game was the best quarterback game of all time.
It was incredible. Watching it live, it was like every touchdown he threw was like you couldn't throw it any more perfect. Like, it was literally just every throw was on the dot. It was incredible.
I was saying, like, Goff is having the career that we wanted Bridgewater to have. Like, Goff was like the Bridgewater after Bridgewater, and this one's actually doing it. Like, it's awesome. Yeah. So Dave gets the win, 2-2, in with the cluster of Brock and Josh at 2-2 in the Pac-5. Carter, there was a lot of talk going into this game, like if he starts 4-0, are we gonna seriously have to think about this team in terms of a playoff spot this season? And he was close. He put up a fight, 154.7. Not quite good enough to get it done, but a respectable week. But moving forward, we kind of saw. We mentioned 2016 last week. Same kind of deal. He put up a 158.9, lost that week 4, and then proceeded to just go on a abysmal 4-game stretch, averaging 120 points per game. Are we going to see something like that happen again? Getting into the Big 5 here now, he's going to have some tough games coming up.
I don't think so. I think he's going to be right there. Looking at his team this week, offense had another solid week. He got a little bit let down by the defense.
Yeah, the defense didn't really do it.
Yeah,
it's been up and down. The defense has been like 78-45, 66-45.
Ooh,
like
wow.
When it goes down, it goes down. Like 45 is the lowest total this season, and he's posted it twice.
So, and he's going to benefit from this decimated Falcons defense with Matt Ryan just having to go full on pass.
I was going to say,
outscore the other team.
Matt Ryan might score 100 points in the next 2 weeks because they got the Steelers in week 5 and the Buccaneers in week 6.
Yeah,
he's going to light it up.
29, 39, 28
against two of the worst pass defenses. It's going to be.
This has been very quiet too. I'm just noticing that it's been like this.
Yeah. After week 1, he looked awful against the Eagles. Like, oh my God, is Matt Ryan good anymore? And then he's just rattling off these games. It's like, all right. But he's going to lose probably Tevin Coleman production. Well, maybe it'll be a little less once Devonta Freeman comes back. And then Doug Baldwin's coming back. I don't know. Yeah. It might come down to earth a little bit, but there's still enough players here that it's he could get it right back on track and keep getting wins. So just needs to find some consistency with the defense for sure.
He's definitely got guys. Fournette's going to be out for another 2 weeks at least. Yeldon 20-pointer this week, so maybe even Yeldon finds a way into the flex spot and gets him a big game. But he's got a lot of those guys, like a lot of flex-worthy guys that he could plug in. Get production out of. He had Philip Lindsay in there this week, and he had a touchdown. So
he's got a lot of those guys like Matt Breida, Chris Thompson, even Naheem Hines had a really good week. So yeah, a lot of fun guys on that team.
Ronald Jones
plays
a person. He played snaps.
Debut.
So wasn't great, but better than being a scratch.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm seeing a lot of potential trade pieces on this team. A lot of those guys in the mid tier that he's probably gonna be able to sell out. This isn't even just if he's just sell. This is just guys that he can unload for a decent little price to kind of help his team as he goes on throughout the season. And obviously, he trades for Demaryius Thomas. You know where his mentality is. He's not taking this loss as a sign of things to come. He wants to get back into it here. So, all right. Last game of week 4 is Josh and Kelvin, the two teams that were part of one of the biggest trades we've had in Web, the Saquon Barkley trade, facing off here. Unfortunately for Josh, not getting to show off the Geis versus Barkley dynamic, but so another team, Josh, wasn't able to get the win this week, but still 153 points. From a team that we kind of said, we're not seeing a lot on this offense. We're not really seeing the guys that we want to see. And he's come out and, he's scoring just about 160 points per game, which currently would give him the tiebreaker Pac-5 lead. So technically, through 4 weeks, he's still leading the Pac-5.
2 weeks in a row for Josh.
2 weeks in a row. So
wow.
I'm not going to say that I think that this kind of production is something that can carry him through the season and maybe even to a Pac-5 race down the stretch. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Dave has maybe even a better chance of getting involved in something like that. But it's been impressive. It's been impressive so far.
Mm-hmm.
And 2-2 is, he had 2 wins all of last season. So
I hatched it already. It's exciting times. Got the best linebacker
he
of all time.
He had 3 wins last season, 2 the year before. So
got the best linebacker of all time, and
Darius Leonard averaging 18.5 a game.
He's got to be the team MVP right now.
Oh, for sure. Like that's going to set a record. Like through 4 weeks, that's got to be a record.
It's the Webb MVP. There's no way that this team is doing anything close to this without him. This has been huge production. So, but yeah, I mean, it's the offense still. I mean, it's not even with these big point totals. Like you see this 169, 179 that he had in his 2 wins. The offense still was at 98 and 102. Like for totals that are that size, that's a pretty, average offensive output. So he is getting a lot from the defense. And the question is going to be, can that kind of production continue enough to make him competitive down the stretch?
Yeah, it's tough to tell.
Yeah, that's something that remains to be seen, I suppose. Kelvin gets a win this week, so he's on the board. 1-3. This is 164.7. The team finally showing some life. I think it's been a common running theme here that we do like what Kelvin's got going on with his team. And finally seeing that 160-point performance of the season, maybe a glimpse into what he's actually capable of on a week-to-week basis. But I don't know. Big 5 it's gonna be a rough ride. Him and Carter both are gonna. I don't want to say that they don't stand a chance playing the big 3 of that conference, but they're gonna have to prove themselves before I personally will give, it's going to be tough.
The other thing too is right as Big 5 play gets ramped up, he's going to be, at this point with the news we have available, he's going to be losing James Conner.
Yeah.
That's going to open up a pretty big hole at the RB2 spot.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Dion Lewis would probably slot in there right now, unless I'm missing somebody.
Probably.
And then he'd probably be forced to play a flex wide receiver every week too.
But his receiving core is actually really good. Like Sanders is having a resurgent season. Cooks has been good. Ridley he's a number 1 receiver. And Cooper Kupp's been super good.
Yeah, that receiving core, you got the that 2-person ran tandem there, plus Calvin Ridley just on this Falcons wagon. Just destroying everybody, getting all the touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So low-key might be the best receiving core right now in the league. Is that a?
It's I don't want to. It's in terms
wise.
of numbers.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, I'm not saying talent-wise, but in terms of numbers, this is the most impressive I've seen.
But honestly, though, you have to think about it though, because all these guys are young. This is Cooper Kupp, number 5, second year. Calvin Ridley, rookie, number 1. This is a core that he has built through the draft that looks like it's going to be a force for years to come. Pair that with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
And he has 2 first-round picks coming up next year.
Wow.
This is a very exciting team.
Nice.
This is a very exciting team. So
it was a quick rebuild there.
Yeah, for sure.
Your classic 1-year rebuild. I believe that's what we call a retool.
Yeah, that's crazy. Also, the rise and fall of Will Dissly. You hate to see it.
Yeah.
They already made his Hall of Fame bust. He already has that. But
out for the rest of the year.
Just I wish that I could have seen it happen for more time. I wanted more time.
Hayden Hurst might be coming back too.
That too.
Here.
Hayden Hurst. Wow, I forgot about that name.
Yeah. That Baltimore tight end crew is wicked crowded.
Yeah.
Max Williams.
Max Williams looked decent last week. What's up with that?
Ravens are just such a weird team.
It made me want to almost pick them up.
I just love how I decided to drop Mark Andrews and keep Jake Butt, and Jake Butt's ACLs just keep crawling away, and Mark Andrews is fucking phenom.
Didn't have any big plays this week.
Yeah.
The tight end position has just gotten eviscerated. Like, everyone's dead.
It's a waste.
I actually kind of do want to talk about that. Like, maybe not now, but maybe to close the show. Like, it's honestly like a little bit like crazy. Like, it's almost like stupid. Like how valuable the top tight ends have become when you're talking about the number 8 guy having like 20 points right now.
Jesus,
it's so bad. So we'll save that. We'll talk about that because that's wild. All right. Week 5 was a marquee week of the season. We come out of this non-conference. Teams are kind of oriented. Now we jump into the guys that you're familiar with, the guys that you're going to be playing twice a year. Usually try to slot in some big opening conference matchups in the schedule, and we certainly have a couple of them this season. Let's start here with the Big 5, the Mingo and Parker game. So 3-1, each team sitting atop the pack or the Big 5 right now in terms of record. I got a little bit of a scoring edge right now. What are we thinking?
I think this is probably going to be game of the week if we do the vote. Looking at Parker's lineup, it looks like it's got more holes at the moment than yours. I'm looking at the string of D.D. Westbrook, Ben Watson, Alfred Morris. I think may do Parker in here this week. I'm going to pick Mingo.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's we already had the little hole in the, I guess, little holes in the lineup, and now who's on a bye this week? Is it Mike Evans? Yep.
Mike Evans, yep.
So now he's down one more guy. He's really going to need the defense to do stuff this week if he wants a chance of winning. But I've got Mingo.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird to see some of these names in his lineup because he does have such a rock solid team and he's scoring so much, but then he's just kind of been destroyed by some different things, the tight end position. And like D.D. Westbrook's having a pretty decent season, I think. Jacksonville.
Yeah, he's got a couple of 14-point games,
Yeah, so that's nice. But yeah, I'll go with myself on this one. I like where the team's at right now. Corey Davis debut, that's at least 15 points.
That's exciting.
Okay. Next Big 5 game then is Dan and Carter. So here's one of those chances for Carter to prove that he's a force in the Big 5 here, 3-1.
Mm-hmm. So this is a kind of interesting game here because you got Carter trying to avoid that losing streak that haunted him, his 3-0 lose every game after. You got Dan, who's 2-2 despite putting up some pretty hefty point totals week in, week out. So if Dan all of a sudden, if that point total falls off a little bit, like maybe he has an off week, all of a sudden you're 2-3. That's a little nerve-wracking. But overall, I just think Dan's team is just too strong with Mahomes and Kamara. leading the show there. I'm picking Dan.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna swing the same way. Carter is gonna need a new kicker because Sam Ficken got cut, actually.
Ooh.
So
breaking news.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. And then I don't know. Demarius Thomas is in the lineup though, so revenge game for Carter maybe.
Ooh. Yeah, you gotta play him in that there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think not Tim, sorry. I see Tim's biggest rival on there, and I see Tim in the picture.
Every time.
Yeah, the picture plus, the name is just like, hey, it's Tim's team.
Wait, no, it's actually good. But I can't talk, but yeah. But yeah, I'll go with Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I do like I mean, I think Carter does have some advantage spots in the lineup. Zach Ertz is obviously one of the top tight ends in the league. That's like a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like the receiving core, Doug Baldwin coming back. Dan, I mean, he does have those holes on offense that we've talked about, but it's so overpowering when you get guys like Kamara that can just step in and put up 30 points and just completely eliminate a flex spot. Like that's the power of those kind of guys. And I think Dan's scoring pace will continue, and he will get above 500, 3-2 for Dan. All right, Pack 5, Caleb and Tim, the game that decided a playoff spot last time it occurred.
Yeah, their first meeting since.
Revenge opportunity for Tim.
Caleb, you want to go first for yourself?
I'll go with myself. Joe Mixon, hopefully he's back. Boy, I really don't know how I feel about starting Taywan Taylor, but I think the defense will figure it out this week. Justin Tucker is the best kicker in football. He'll supply me some points, and then Big Ben against that Atlanta secondary. I think I'll have enough this week to take down Tim, and hopefully he doesn't get any quarterback production or anything. So I'll go with myself.
That could be a big difference. Yeah, if Russell Wilson gets he's playing the Rams though, so they're probably going to be behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Russell Wilson gets shut down and Ben Roethlisberger goes ham on the Falcons secondary, could be potential like 20-point swing there.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, though, I think the running back advantage is just too much for Caleb to overcome this week. I'm going to take Tim.
Yeah, Tim's offense is the last 2 weeks. Tim's offense 128 and 120. He's gunning. He's second in offensive scoring by a mile. Well, not by a mile, but this offense is so strong. The defense is a question mark, and I think that there is a vulnerability when you rely so heavily on your offense because those touchdowns can just disappear on any given week.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Caleb is kind of in the same place with the defense, and the offense just it's not really at the level that he wants to be at right now. I think it's going to be a close game. I think this is going to be a nail-biting type of a scenario again for Tim, like last week, but I think it'll be Tim.
Hey, Caleb, I'll take you to cover that 15-point spread.
Hey, yes. All right.
Second Pack 5, Dave and Josh. One of my favorite matchups of the season. So nice we get it twice.
A new slogan for this game. So nice that we get it twice.
It's actually kind of a big deal. This game is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, one of them's gonna have an over 500 record here.
I mean, theoretically, like Josh is up on you by 8 points in scoring. Dave is just behind you in scoring, like decimals. Very easily, the winner of this game could be leading the Pac-5 after 5 weeks.
Wow.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
So kind of a nice little setting the tone kind of a game for each one of these teams. Both of them they have a lot to prove to the league after their last few seasons. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I think this game we touched on a little bit before, where we were wondering which one of these teams has a chance to make a run at the Pac-5 here, and I think this game is probably going to show us who's going to have who's probably going to do it, like the most likely. Looking at the lineups here, I see a lot of check marks on Dave's side. Definitely has the offensive edge. Adam Thielen, one of the best wide receivers in the league. Running back edge too. I think there's just more talent offensively here for Dave, which is weird considering 4 weeks ago we were saying how Dave's offense was the worst in the league. But here we are. I think I'm going to pick Dave this week to go 3-2.
Yeah, I'm with Brock here. This is a big matchup. One of the biggest I have seen between these two. And it's pretty early in the season, so big deal. I see Ian Thomas in the lineup at tight end for Josh. Doesn't bode well for him. He's averaging 1.5 a game. And then, of course, in our tight end matrix, Jared Cook is the highest scoring tight end in football. So that gives Dave a distinct advantage. I think all around his offense is just better. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Dave.
The eye test says Dave. That's for sure. But everything about Josh's season so far has gone against the eye test. There's no reason that this is just purely based on past performances and expectations, projected points. There's no reason that this team should have scored 180 points in week 2, but it did. And I think that Darius Leonard is going to score 25 points this week, which is going to be 50% of Dave's overall defensive total. And I'm going to go with Josh.
All right.
I'm excited. This is an exciting game.
Could go either way. Yeah, this will be a fun one.
And then rounding out our games, the first 2018 Interconference Game of the Week.
Brought to you by Quick Trip.
Frazier and Calvin. So let's say it how it is. I wanted to make this the season of saying it how it is, and this is a game that you should win, that you need to win to show the Pac-5 that you're not messing around.
Yeah.
Are you going to win?
Yeah. I think I am. Looks like I'm a little bit appalled by these check marks I'm seeing in this preview right now with the disrespect my defense is being given that they're the top scoring defense. So yeah, I think my defense is going to outscore his despite these check marks, and I think this is going to be a bounce back week for the offense. I think Gronk's going to have a big game. He's got the Q right now, but I have a feeling about Gronk. We're running with the double tight end as of now too. We're getting Kittle in there. Yeah, I think we're going to get some bounce back weeks, and we're going to score some touchdowns from people not named Gurley.
I know Corf said this is a game you should win, but I think it's closer than that. I don't know if it's a game you should. I think it could go either way, in my opinion. This receiving core, they got Calvin Ridley against the Steelers, and then James Conner against the Falcons, Brandon Cooks and Cooper Kupp against the Seahawks, who just lost Earl Thomas. I think there's going to be a lot of points there. And Saquon, who can forget about that guy?
Hey, Hey, I also have Julio going against the Steelers.
Well, Julio wasn't going to score a touchdown, so
right, you're right. Antonio going against the Falcons.
It doesn't matter. I think, yeah, I think it's really going to come down to touchdowns for Frazier. If Mike Williams can get a touchdown, if George Kittle can have another nice week, Chris Carson in the starting lineup is weird because I don't know.
Last time he played, he had 30 carries.
Yeah, and then Mike Davis had 21 carries last week.
Yeah, because Carson didn't play.
I don't know. I think Mike took the job. I don't know. I'm taking Calvin. I don't know. This receiving core has been putting up enough points, and then Saquon and James Conner, and hopefully Carson Wentz can. What is he doing here? He hasn't had a great start, so maybe you can expose this Vikings secondary that was just eviscerated by Jared Goff, and then get the win this week. But it really, I think, you go either way. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm picking Calvin.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I'm not going to say that it's as one-sided as it kind of sounded like I was making it seem. But I still do believe that Brock has the better team. I like the receivers a lot, and I think that even on it's impressive that you can stack these wide receiving cores up against each other. One of them has Antonio Brown and Julio Jones, and you still are kind of torn to pick which one is actually the better of the two. I think that's really impressive. But Brock's defense, consistent, top scoring defense. Kelvin's been a little bit inconsistent there. And I think Brock's going to see some production out of those spots that have kind of been lacking, like the weird Patriots stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
I think that 2-game skid was a wake-up call, and I think he's not going to let himself fall behind Dave or Josh. He's going to keep the pace. I'm going to pick Frazier.
Thank you. Also, keep an eye on that lineup tomorrow. We may see a Josh Gordon sighting.
Oh, man.
Oh, baby. Let's go. I just got really excited about Kelvin's team, though. Like,
yeah,
this is one of the most exciting new, like, identity teams in Web, like, over the last year and a half here that he's been building it. So that's exciting. Okay, so that's week 5 conference games. Excited for that. Like that's huge. I'm ready to get some Parker action.
Yeah, and use this transition into the tight end thing as we were going through there. I know there's buys this week, but the fact that Ben Watson and Ian Thomas are 2 starting tight ends this week. Wow.
That's what I'm saying. And I think
Shambles.
It was brought to my attention when Jake Butt tore his ACL for the 6th time, and I had to cut him, and I went to the wire to see who I can add because Hunter Henry obviously is my backup on IR, got it from Caleb, so I don't have a backup. So I go on there. The best available tight end, 23rd overall scoring, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, had 14 points. And I'm just like, what? Like 23rd, you're like, okay, yeah, maybe like 20 points, like 14 points. Then you jump up. We got Jared Cook leading the race, 50 points. Travis Kelce, 48.7. George Kittle, 40.6. Like those are good totals. These are guys that are gonna have like 180 points or 160 points this season. By the time you get down to the 10th, so a tight end 1, 27.6. Will Dissly out for the season. Gronk, 27.3. Having a little bit of a rough stretch here. Vance McDonald, 25. Then all of a sudden I'm seeing names like Austin Hooper, Ricky Seals-Jones, Cameron Brate. These are all like 20 points. Like it just feels like when you look at this list and you think about the position and you think about every single team owning at least 2 tight ends, this is disgusting. Like, are we really going to start guys? And like, it's to the point where if they score a touchdown, it's a tight end one week. 6 points does it.
That's what you're shooting for every week out of tight end. A touchdown. You have a top 5 tight end that week.
Yeah. I know Parker was, he's obviously trying to get a tight end, and I was talking to Tim about this with Eric Ebron, who's kind of been, Tim's third tight end. He's kind of shopping him, even though he just traded for him. I don't know. And he, like, should I be putting a premium on this player? Like, I just got him for a third, but he's a tight end 1, and the league needs tight ends. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, like, why the hell wouldn't you? If a team is starting Ian Thomas or Benjamin Watson, and they're coming calling for the tight end 7 or tight end 6, like, hey, give me Jesse James. It's like, I'm gonna ask for at least like a 2nd round pick for that player. Like, it's the value is so inflated because of how like few there are to go around. Is that would you agree? Like, is that correct?
Yeah, I would agree with how quickly this drops off, and especially from a value standpoint, where you just these names like down in that 15 to 25 range are just gross. Like,
yeah,
you got some of those like rookies coming in, like your Mark Andrews and other young ones that are kind of down here where maybe they have a little bit of value there, and then you have these just old gross ones like Vance McDonald is actually pretty good.
Yeah. And that's 2 tight ends from the Steelers. Like, that is you have McDonald and Jesse James both putting up like tight end at least tight end 2 numbers. Like,
yeah. And with how hard it is to get scoring out of some of those that 10 to 20 range people where they just like maybe they'll score you a touchdown and have 20 yards. Like, that's best case scenario. And when you compare that to like your Travis Kelce's of the world where they could put up like 25 points every week, that's such a massive difference right there.
Yeah, and there's only like a few of those guys that actually are like I don't have the scoring in front of me, but like whoops, I'm on IR eligible. So like, yeah, Jared Cook, Travis Kelce's like the only guy who has like 20, he could have 20-point upside to start this season. Like, Zach Ertz has had a really good start, but like he hasn't scored touchdowns. Like, he had a 10-catch, 112-yard game, but that didn't do that was like 11 for 94. That's only 9.4. So like, honestly, if I'm looking at it, Travis Kelce is like the only one with upside to like score you like double-digit points every week. Everyone else is just a crapshoot.
Well,
like,
and
it's gross.
Like, even a Jared Cook, like the number 1 scoring tight end, like that's on 2 weeks, you know, and like you can't discredit that and say like, oh, you did it all in 2 games, but like the other 2 games, 4 points, 3 points, like what kind of production are you getting out of this player every week? Whereas you look at like you said, like even Zach Ertz, like who hasn't scored a touchdown yet, like that's going to come. He's at least putting up like 50 yards a week. He's got the 48, but then he's over 70 in all of these 3 games, including a 100-yard game. Like, that's what I want to see out of a tight end, because that the touchdowns will probably come for them. What I don't want to see is a guy like Eric Ebron, who's got 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, but yet he's got 3 touchdowns. It's like that. It's such a crapshoot to just rely on a guy to get that 6 points that really puts them into the tight end 1 spot. Like, it just feels like the tight end position, like it's lacking some skill right now. Like, there's not these athletic, like high upside guys like Kelce and Ertz. And I mean, like Hunter Henry's hurt, Evan Ingram's out. Like, these kind of athletic like guys that have showed that they're not just touchdown guys. Like, there's not a lot of those right now.
Yeah, it's it's dark times for the tight end position, and like a lot of these guys that are hurt, like Delaney Walker on IR, he's old. Greg Olsen out, he's old. So like some of these guys are on their way out already. So we really need to see these younger guys at some point like pick it up. Like I know there's like the 3-year thing. I think it's like 2 or 3 years for tight ends actually like start to do stuff. I don't know. We're gonna have to start seeing that pretty soon. Otherwise, the tight end position is just gonna be. It's not gonna be much to it left.
And I think you see that though, like the 2-year whatever tight end development rule. OJ Howard, who was a player that we all loved coming out. Absolutely phenomenal prospect at the tight end position, first-round draft pick. Did nothing, almost nothing last season. And now, comes out this season with flashing those skills. I mean, he's hurt right now. Of course. Like had those, yeah, right, of course. The 50, 96, 72, 1 touchdown. Like he was kind of fitting that role. So maybe it's just a question of getting some of these guys, some of these prospects, like up through like 2 or 3 years, letting them go. But I think in terms of this argument, mainly what I was trying to get at was that there is certainly a premium for tight ends right now. Like if you have a good tight end, and this has kind of always been the case. Like, I mean, the Jimmy Grahams of 2013 and the Gronks and stuff like that was always super highly valued, and big part of Dan's early web success was with those 2 players. But I think now for sure we're seeing some kind of extra value placed on guys that really you wouldn't think had it. So, oh man, out of breath.
I think those tight ends were so gross. My browser just crashed.
It's just I just get mad. It's like when I see fullback score, it's the same thing of when I see like Jeff Swaim is the 4th scoring tight end in a week, and I'm just like, what? I love tight ends. Like they're so big and fast and athletic when they actually are. But all right, guys. Well, let's wrap this up. The game's starting in 2 minutes, so I can drink myself a coma now. But this was a fun one. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Next time we have a podcast, one of us is going to be married.
Wow.
Weird.
The first married member of Pod Squad.
Pod Squad.
All right, guys. Well, let's make it a great week 5.